Hello fellow humans and welcome to an extra instalment of the Madhouse. This isn't Madhouse Library or the upcoming Madhouse Kitchen segment, no. This is an impromptu reminder video about the election tomorrow, just to say, get out there and vote. Remember what I've been saying, while I don't think spoiling the ballot is a good idea because it won't get any party who will make a change in there, you can if you want to, and voting and turning out is the only way they will listen. Your silence is assumed to be compliance. So with that in mind, turn up to vote. Polling stations or places, if you're in Scotland, should be open from 7 o'clock tomorrow morning until 10 PM tomorrow evening. That should give you plenty of time, even if you work 9 till 5, to pop out for the 10 minutes it will take you to vote. It's incredibly simple. Like I said, just cross a box or write all of these politicians are wankers. Either one works, and they have to count it. What I'm going to do now is a quick summary of all the manifestos. Now please note, I'm just doing this in alphabetical order because while I obviously have a preference, that's not pertinent. I'm going to do this with my laptop here because there's a lot of things to go through, and I want to do this as quickly as possible, also as simply as possible. Please note that all of these are taken from the various manifestos. I spent hours going through these to come up with an extensive summary of each of the various policy segments, but you don't need to know all that. I'll just give you this. I will apologise now to residents of Northern Ireland. I did try to do some research on DUP and Sinn Féin, but there isn't that much information available to me here, and I've also been working on essays. This has mostly been compiled in my spare time, and time is running out now, you see. So the Conservatives then, seeing as I'm going alphabetically. Number 1, eliminate the deficit. Number 2, run a surplus by the end of the next parliament. Number 3, an extra £8 billion above inflation for the NHS by 2020. 4, extend the right to buy to housing association tenants in England. To keep people working 30 hours on minimum wage out of tax. 30 hours of free childcare per week for working parents of 3 and 4 year olds. And a referendum on EU membership. They also wish to add in an English parliament, essentially, having English votes for English laws, much like they have in Wales or the Welsh in Scotland for the Scottish, etc. So the Tories' policies are mostly economic. Now the Greens, their policies are understandably quite environmental. Number 1, to end austerity. 3, to restore the public sector. Number 3, create jobs that pay at least a living wage. That's a wage you can live on. Makes sense really. 4, to end the privatisation of the NHS and return it to public hands. To internationally ensure that global temperatures do not rise by more than 2 degrees Celsius. To invest £85 billion in home insulation, renewable energy generation and flood defences. To provide 500,000 social homes for rent by 2020 and to control rent levels. And also to privatise the railways after they had been sold off. Now the Labour Party, theirs are again mostly economic, but there are a few social policies as well. They wish to cut the deficit every year, to balance the books as soon as possible, to get an extra £2.5 billion for the NHS, funded by a mansion tax, to raise the minimum wage, to ensure that there is no raise in VAT, national insurance or basic and higher rates of income tax, to create access to childcare from 8 PM to 6 PM for parents of primary school children, to freeze energy bills until 2017, and to give energy regulators new powers to cut energy bills. The Liberal Democrats, again, theirs is mostly economic but some social. Number 1, to balance the budget through a mix of cuts and taxes on higher earners. To increase tax-free allowance to £12,500. Guarantee education funding from nursery to the age of 19 and qualified teachers in every class. No, I'm sorry, I've gone very posh there. Qualified teachers in every class. To invest £8 billion in the NHS and to ensure equal care for mental and physical health, and to introduce 5 new laws to protect nature and fight climate change. Now for Plaid Cymru, the Party of Wales. To ensure a living wage for all employees by 2020. To have an extra 1,000 doctors for the Welsh NHS. To scrap the bedroom tax. To transfer control of criminal justice in Wales to Wales. So, for example, the police will answer to the Welsh Government. To oppose the renewal of Trident, the nuclear weapons programme, which would cost around 100 billion to renew. They want Wales to get similar powers and funding to the Scottish Government, which would be approximately £1.2 billion more. The SNP, the Scottish Nationalist Party, want a spending increase of 0.5% a year, enabling a £140 million extra investment. An annual UK target of 100,000 affordable homes, increase to minimum wage back to £8.70 by 2020, and to restore the 50p tax rate for those earning more than £150,000. They want a mansion tax, a banker's bonus tax. They oppose the renewal of Trident, and they want to retain the triple lock on pensions and protect the winter fuel allowance. Now, UKIP, their points are mostly social and then economic. They want a referendum on EU membership as soon as possible. They want to control immigration with a point system limited to 50,000 skilled workers per year and a 5-year ban on unskilled immigration. They want an extra £3 billion a year for the NHS, no tax on the minimum wage, and to meet a NATO target spending 2% of GDP on defence, to renew the Trident programme, to repeal the Climate Change Act of 2008, and end green taxes, but they do want to protect the green belt, which is the countryside, by building on brown site, which is unused sites within towns and cities. And that's it. Once again, my apologies to Ireland. If I can find the information for this, I will pop it in the description, but it's a bit late to try and find it and film it now, otherwise this won't go up before the election. So, as I've said, please turn out to vote, even if it's just a protest. Do it. Make your voice heard. This is the most closely contested election for decades. And it's very difficult for experts to call. All we know is that no one party is going to win a single majority. Current thoughts are that perhaps the Tories and UKIP might get together, or potentially the Tories and the DUP, but then there's also the possibility of Labour supported by the Greens and the Liberal Democrats. The SNP could team up with Labour, but Ed Miliband is not overly keen on the idea and has in fact spoken against it, but it may be the only way that he'll get into power. And I'm not saying which of these I prefer, it's merely an analysis of current polls and trends. Seriously, just get out and vote. And that's all for me. Please like and subscribe and share this with as many people as you can, because we need to have people aware of what they're voting for. There are plans for some quite radical changes in some of these. And as always, have a nice day and bye.